Father, one of our viewers wanted to know if there are any stipulations for Catholic crucifixes. What exactly is required for a Catholic crucifix? He gave a few examples. He asked, must the INRI sign be on a Catholic crucifix? Must the feet be nailed together? Are they able to be nailed separately? Must the wound in the side of our Lord, must that be visible on the crucifix? Are there any stipulations that you're aware of, Father?
Well, with the INRI sign missing, would that make it not a crucifix? I mean, what makes it a crucifix?
The corpus?
Right, you have the cross, right? And you have the corpus on the cross, right? Essentially, that makes it a crucifix, right? So would it make it any less a crucifix if the feet were nailed separately?
So,
No, there's no doctrine about that necessarily, right? Without the INRI sign, would it make it less a crucifix? Well, remember, when our Lord was crucified, there was no INRI sign hanging over him. That was added after he was nailed to the cross. It wasn't put there first. So there was a time, we don't know how long, that there was no Jesus Nazarenos Rex Judaeorum sign in Greek and Latin and Hebrew. When our Lord was first hung upon that cross, was it not a crucifix until that sign was hung there? No, of course, it was the crucifixion, right? The same with the wound, okay? When our Lord was alive on the cross, before that wound was struck in his side, was that still a crucifix? Was that the crucifixion, or did it only become the crucifixion when they actually rammed the broad spear into our Lord's side and opened his heart? No, it was the crucifixion. While our Lord was hanging there before he died, it was the crucifixion, right? So essentially, I mean, a Catholic crucifix is showing the cross with our Lord nailed to the cross, right? That's the crucifixion, and that is therefore a crucifix. Now, of course, for us, the INRI, the Jesus Nazarenos Rex Judaeorum sign, specifies this is that crucifixion of the Son of God, the redemptive sacrifice of Christ on the cross. So that sign for us is significant. If the sign were to fall off, if you have a crucifix hanging on the wall in your room, and for whatever reason that sign falls off, it doesn't make it not a crucifix, right? And the one nail for the feet, or two separate nails, again, that wouldn't make it any less a crucifixion. If the wound was not there in our Lord's side, and sometimes they depicted it on one side, sometimes they depicted it on the other side, depending about whose perspective they were going by, right? But if that wound were not there at all, it would not make it less a crucifix. It would just mean that shows our Lord hanging on the cross before his death. And even after he was dead, because only after he was dead did the soldier come and open his side, after he had died on the cross. So, to be a Catholic crucifix as such, I mean, are there non-Catholic crucifixes? There are, but they don't talk about two nails in the feet, or they don't talk about the INRI sign. They talk about whether the crucifix portrays our Lord's suffering on the cross. And there the church has spoken. And the church has said that it's wrong to portray the crucifixion of our Lord without portraying his sufferings. In other words, if you simply have the figure of a cross and then superimposed on the cross Christ, like the king in Gothic vestments, with his arms outstretched, not showing the fact that he's attached to the cross with the nails and showing that he's crucified, that would not be a crucifix, certainly not a Catholic crucifix. So the idea that came in the 1950s of portraying with the body of our Lord superimposed upon a cross, but not showing the sufferings of the crucifixion, that was rejected by the church as not being the church's concept of a crucifix. There are requirements, it's true, but the things that are mentioned there are, you might say, accessory, but they do not take away the character of the crucifix. They should all be there, by the way. I would still say, even after all that if I were to buy a crucifix or have them offered for sale in the religious store for people to buy, take home, have blessed, put in their homes, I would want the INRI plaque over our Lord's head. And personally, I would want the nail showing his feet nailed together. And of course, the wound in the side showing that the sacrifice had been completed. I would prefer that, and that's what I would choose. But I wouldn't go labeling any crucifix that did not have that to be a non-crucifix or a non-Catholic crucifix.